Hi, everyone, and welcome to Oyster Academy. Today, our session is going to be regarding the BDO examination, the Block Development Officer under the state of Goa. Okay, so we will go through a few things. One, who is a BDO? What are his or her functions? What is the salary? That is another important discussion. And we'll look at a previous ad. There is no new ad for BDO this year as of yet. We are expecting one. Let's hope and pray it does come soon. But till then, we need to understand what a BDO is and how to apply for it also. And then finally, the exam stages. Do we have a screening or a pre-screening? What kind of interview is there? Is there a written exam or is it all CBRT? That is what we will discuss. Okay, so these are the few things that we will go through in this session. The very first thing is, who is a BDO? Okay, now everyone has at least heard the name of the post, which is the collector. Okay, the collector is the head of the district. Now he's the head of the district on both revenue and on the development side. Okay. Now on the revenue side, you must have heard a few posts, which is well, one you have definitely heard would be a talati because he's in every village. Above the talati, you have few other posts. One of them being a circle inspector. Above that, a few more, then you would come to a Nayab Tehsildar. Now, I'm giving you the name of the posts which are pretty well known to most of the aspirants. Okay. So you have Nayab Tehsildar, you have Tehsildar. Above that, then you have your deputy collector, and then you have your collector, and so on. Okay. Now, that is on the finance side of it regarding any form of taxes or land revenue and so on. Okay. But then a district also has development side. Now, on the development side, you have to divide the districts into smaller parts. So you have your district, you have your subdivision, your block, and your village. Okay. So you see here, the district, subdivision, block, and the village. In the district, you would have a district magistrate, additional district magistrate, and so on. On the subdivision, you have your subdivisional officer or subdivisional magistrate. Okay. And below that, then you have your blocks. And in the block, you have your block development officer. So this individual and this post is specifically on the development side of it. That means there will be implementation of all forms of schemes and any form of measures that the government is running for its people. Okay. So as a block development officer, you will have to take care of all the development aspect of your own block. Now, in our state, we have only a two-tier system. So we do not have a Panchayat Samiti as such. But if you look at someone like a three-tier system, you have a BDO who would be heading the Panchayat Samiti. So he's the secretary of the Panchayat Samiti as such. Okay. But of course, the BDO over here plays a vital role, considering that multiple villages would be under the BDO. There is no Panchayat Samiti per se, but since our Gram Panchayats itself are very strong, the block development officer also becomes responsible to multiple villages under his control. Okay. So that is where the block development officer stands. We're looking at the functions as such. The block development officer, in fact, is, as I said, is going to ensure all the plans and programs and measures which have to be implemented by the government. Okay. It could be any policies which are specified to, let's say, SCs, STs, OBCs, minorities, women, people with disabilities, and so on. It also entails developmental aspects such as education, health, rural development, which could include road development, water supply to homes. It would entail irrigation facilities, right? And even in education, we were looking at primary, secondary, adult education, women education, uh, uh, education for people with disabilities, let's say for the people who are blind, or we also have implementation policies which would be for farmers as such, specifically for farmers. So all of these developmental activities have to be handled by the BDO. Now, of course, this is a very generalized post. Okay, and you also do not need to know each and every aspect of each and every developmental activity that is to be done. Of course, as an individual, no one can entail everything. Okay. So what happens is the BDO, to handle specific departments under him, is given extension officers. So specialized individuals, let's say in the field of agriculture. Let's say you have specified individuals who are going to take care of horticulture for your area. And let's say your area is to be a cluster for horticulture. The government has very specifically said so and also provided enough money to help uplift the farmers with the help of horticulture. It could be anything. I mean, building up greenhouses, providing subsidies for wells and seeing to it that irrigation is done, providing proper seeds, maintenance of those activities, soil health card, and so on. And you single-handedly cannot do all of this, nor would you possibly understand what a soil health card indicates and what are the changes that have been brought to the soil. Because you are more of a generalized individual. Okay. Even your exam syllabus does not hold everything. But that is where you get someone called as an extension officer. An extension officer is a specialized individual. So all of the extension officers under that block would report to you. Okay. So you are the person who has to ensure multi-departmental coordination in such a way for your block that your block starts developing better. Okay, now this is all on the development side. So, are you to look into getting farmland taxes? Are you into getting any taxes that there would be for land dealings? No, nothing of that sort. Okay, so your work is not that. Your work is very simple, seeing to it that roads, schools, electricity being supplied everywhere correctly, farm development, education development, all of these would be part of under your purview. And then finally, since you are a secretary for the Panchayat Samiti, now we do not have a Panchayat Samiti, but since you would be the BDO, every Gram Panchayat under your block would be reporting to you. And you would be seeing to it that the Gram Sevaks work according to plan. Okay. So all of this falls under your function. Another important aspect of BDO is election duty. Okay. And also if there is a disaster. Now, if there is something like, God forbid, COVID coming again or something in the form of COVID, like, another huge issue. So in that case, the BDOs become extremely important. Okay. So it will be you will be the person in charge for your block to see to it that there is not spread of such virus. And if there is a disaster, if there is, let's say, now take the recent rains. Okay. The BDO was again became important again because of the rampant construction that we had been doing, where especially in our capital, which caused massive floods. And because of this, to have a proper check in the village side as well, you have your BDO. Okay. So that is what the basic function of the BDO is. The next important point is, what about your salary? Now, as per the 7th Pay Commission, even if the salary that you would get is on the 7th CPC level. Okay. Now that is what a BDO gets. So level 7 with a GP of 4600, with the basic pay coming up to 44,900 rupees. Okay. Don't worry about the HRA or TA right now. This pretty much comes to about 10% and 5% or so. Okay. So this 10%, this 5%. Now, why did I select Z city as such is because for the house rent allowance, that is the HRA, the government of India has given a set of 4 cities or so in city X. So there are 3 stages, X, Y, and Z. Okay. For X, there are only 4 metro cities. For Y, there are about 40 odd cities, but well, none of our cities are there in Y, depending upon the development of that city as such, and the standard of living or the costs of living for the cities, which for us is less as compared to the rest of the major cities as. Okay. So we fall under the Z category for any city that you would stay in our state. And of course, the transport allowance, which would be about 5% is what we're looking at. So your salary with all of this comes to around 74,540 rupees. So around this range is what you would get. Now, this is your minimum pay. Okay. Now, if you, while filling the form, if you go on to say that you are not ready to accept the minimum pay and you require a certain higher salary, you need to justify your answer. And once you are done that, and the Go Public Service Commission is fine with your answer, and they are ready to negotiate with you and give you a higher pay scale, then your pay scale might be higher. But this is what you can expect to start with. Okay, so this is fine. This is a decent amount for a BDO. All right, and this is for the seventh pay commission. Now, another point is, you notice this DA. Okay, now the dearness allowance is about 50% right now. We are expecting this to go to about 54% by August, September. Okay. And we are expecting the eighth pay commission also to increase our salaries pretty soon. Okay. So eighth pay commission is already in progress. They have assembled and they're going to think about increasing basic pay. So you're going to get a decent amount. The government, to counter inflation, they keep on increasing the DA. And right now the DA is 54%. So even if you get a basic of 44,900, all this is the 50% DA, which is 22,450. So all of this hence comes to around 74,540 rupees. Okay, so this is the starting point as such. Okay, so approximately 74,000 is what you will get. Don't worry. Of course, this is pre-tax. Okay. All right. Now this is an example of the BDO ad. All right. Now this was from 2022. Okay. And so you have the Block Development Officer. Now we are expecting a new ad this year. Hopefully it comes soon. Let's see. So Block Development Officer, a total of 10 posts were given, 5 for general category, 2 for OBC, 2 for ST, 1 for economically weaker section. Out of the 10 posts, 1 were reserved for PWD, blindness and low vision only. Okay. All right. So what happened was pay matrix 7, not exceeding 45 years. Okay. So maximum age is 45. And what is essential now? Degree in any branch from a recognized university or equivalent, and knowledge of Konkani. Now, this is extremely important. Okay, knowledge of Konkani. You will be tested during the interview. What is desirable? So, if there are two people with the same number, same score as such in their examination, the interview went well for both of them, and the commission isn't able to decide which candidate to take, then they'll look at the desirable aspects also, which is degree in sociology and social work if available, knowledge of Marathi if the person has. And in case of non-availability of the students in the category of PWD, the equal number of posts to be kept vacant from general category. Okay, so this is your essential and desirable. And on the note part, they have mentioned that this one seat, okay, one reserved for PWD, if there are not enough candidates for this particular post, let's say one reserve, then out of these 5 that you have as unreserved, we will keep 1 for PWD. So essentially, this becomes 4. Okay, so study hard. That's all we can say. I mean, these are very low number of seats, to be honest. But I mean, it's not, we are not a big state any which way. So we'll see how it goes. Okay. Now, coming to the stages, we have a total of 3 stages and all. Okay, we have pre-screening, screening, and then the interview. Now, for the JSO, you know that after the screening, you also have a written test. Okay, here, no written test. So it is a pre-screening, you have a screening, and then you have your interview, your computer-based recruitment test, CBRT. Okay, all right. So we look at all these stages one by one. Now, for the pre-screening, you have a total of 60 questions. Okay. Now I mentioned 50 plus 1. Why is that? 50 questions in all are going to be your general intelligence, reasoning, and numerical aptitude. Okay. So basically your maths, logical reasoning, arithmetic, and so on. Okay. And whereas 10 marks are going to be for English comprehension. So you will be given 2 passages, 5 questions from each passage. The passages are very small and very easy to understand. Okay, so it's not that difficult. You are expected literally to get 10 out of 10 over here. Okay, so you have 50 questions for maths as such and 10 questions for your English. Okay, a maximum marks of 60. So 1 question, 1 mark. There is no negative marking, which is, I would say, a blessing in disguise. So make it a point that you attempt all questions. Okay, all right. Then you have a duration of 75 minutes. Now, when you are giving the examination, okay, let's say this is your computer screen, okay. Here is your question and so option A, B, C, whatever be the case, okay. And here on the top right hand corner, here you will have the timer. This timer is a countdown timer, okay. So it will tell you how many minutes are left. Okay, so here you know exactly what is going on, how much time you have, how many questions you have attempted, how much time you have left to attempt the remaining questions is what you will notice here. Okay, so you have your maximum marks and the duration. Now, what is a difference in Goa Public Service Commission as to the other state public service commission is that you need to get a minimum amount of marks. Okay. Now, for general category, the minimum amount is 65%. So, which is 39 marks out of 60. You get 39 marks out of 60, you move on to the next stage, which is your screening. For OBC, PWD, and CFF, which is OBC, other backward classes, or persons with disabilities, or children of freedom fighters. In this category, you're looking at 60% is what you require, which is 36 out of 60. And then the ST category, you're looking at 55%, which is 33 out of 60. Right? So anyone who gets 39 and above in general category, you go to the next stage. Anyone who gets 36 and above in the OBC, PWD, or CFF category goes to the next stage. And anyone in the ST category gets 33 marks or above, you move on to the next stage. Okay. Next stage being screening. However, Goa Public Service Commission gives another opportunity to aspirants who have not cleared the pre-screening but are very close to it. That is called as repeat pre-screening. Okay. Let's say, for example, you get 38, your general category, and you get 38 marks out of 60. Okay. Now you are very close to 39, but missing out for 1 mark, the Goa Public Service Commission then allows you to give a repeat pre-screening. Okay, we'll discuss that also. The same thing happens for OBC, PWD, and CFF. If let's say you have about 34 marks, you are very close. They will give the opportunity for you to move to the next stage by giving a repeat pre-screening. Okay, let's say you get 30 marks in ST category. The same thing will apply. If you notice, there's a difference of 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark. Is it this way? In fact, if you are of any of these three categories, okay, from general, OBC, or ST, if your score is within 3 marks, okay, 3 marks of the qualification mark, within 3 marks of the qualification mark, you will be eligible for repeat pre-screening. Okay, we will come to repeat pre-screening, but understand this. The minimum requirement to move from pre-screening to screening is 39 for general category, 36 for OBC, 33 for SC. Oh, sorry, for ST. And if you are within 3 marks of these 3 numbers, depending upon whichever category you fall under, you will be eligible for a repeat pre-screening. And if you clear the repeat pre-screening, you will be eligible for the screening. For anyone who has cleared the pre-screening, let's say someone has got 40 marks and they have cleared the pre-screening, then they're eligible for the screening any which way. Okay, so we will discuss this a little in detail in some time too. Okay, so for pre-screening, what is the syllabus? See, you could take a screenshot of this, or you could write it down, pause the video, you take a call. Okay. So you have your number series. So you are given a set of numbers. Okay. Let's say 4, 6, 8, and then told to fill in the blank over here. You will say, okay, 10, and you write the answer as 10. That is how it is. Okay. You have got verbal classification, analogies, matching definitions, verbal reasoning. This statement and assumption and statement and conclusion are again important. So these are just based upon your logic and your numerical aptitude. So for example, there would be examples on trains. Okay, so a train is traveling from point A to point B at so and so speed. It crosses a man who is standing on the platform in, let's say, 10 seconds. What is the speed of the train? These are the kind of questions you would get and that would be asked. Okay, so it's pretty easy. It's not very difficult. But for someone who possibly where maths is not a strong point, you will have to study well. Okay, let's put it that way. So there are aspirants who are doing really well in the pre-screening because of the match being good. And that is a very good thing to know, because then there is decent amount of competition, and the people who are eligible for it, or rather are good for the post, then they clear very well. So that's a good thing to know. All right, and then lastly, you have your English comprehension. English comprehension is two passages, as I said, two passages, 5 questions each, simple passages, 10 marks. Okay, so start studying now itself. Okay, now as I said, we will have to look at pre-screening. So what is pre-screening? Okay, look at this. The general category had 39 marks required. The OBC category needed 36 and the ST category needed 33 marks. Okay. So if you got anywhere close to 36, 37 or 38 marks in general category, you would be eligible for a repeat pre-screening. If you are from OBC, PWD or CFF, and if you got anywhere between 33 marks, 34 marks or 35 marks, you're eligible for repeat pre-screening. And the same goes for ST category, 30 marks, 31 marks, 32 marks, you're eligible for repeat pre-screening. Now, let's look at another example over here. Let's say candidate A and candidate B, both are from general category. Okay, so to make it easier for us, candidate A got 42 marks, candidate B got 39 marks. Okay, both got the needed amount of marks and both cleared. Okay, so both are okay. They don't need to give repeat pre-screening. They will directly go to screening. Okay, understand this. Let's say there's another candidate C, again from general category. Okay, again from general. But this individual got 36 marks. Then this individual will first go to repeat pre-screening. Okay. The repeat pre-screening is the same examination, or rather, I mean, the different questions, of course, but the same format of the examination as you had with screening. So he will give the same kind of paper that he gave, for pre-screening. Okay. All right. So repeat pre-screening, the examination is same the format as you would have for pre-screening, which is 50 marks of maths and logical reasoning and 10 marks of comprehension. Okay. I hope this is clear till here. So then in this examination that he is giving, this examination, the student now needs to get at least 39 or above. Only then the person will then go to your screening test. Okay. So you have stage 1, which is, God, my handwriting is going bad to worse. Hold on. Where is, okay. Okay, so let's see. So the very first stage is pre-screening. Okay, then you have screening, and then is the interview. Okay, so student A and B, they went to screening because they got 42 and 39 marks. Okay, student C, however, goes to repeat pre-screening. Okay, if the student over here, let's say here the student got, how many did we say, 36, gives the repeat pre-screening, which is the same format as pre-screening, and the person gets, let's say, 40 marks. Now, has he got the minimum 39 as was required? Yes, then he goes to screening. Okay, now for screening, you will have A, B, and C, all three. Okay, let's say for some reason, after getting 36 as well, in the repeat screening, this candidate gets 36 again. Then this candidate is out because the candidate got an opportunity to give the exam again and failed there also. So now the person has to come and attempt it again next year or whenever the ad comes in. So pre-screening, screening, and then the interview. Okay. Now, what happens in screening? Screening, a total of 75 questions. Maximum marks is 75. Total duration is 90 minutes. So if you notice, 15 minutes extra you get in pre-screening and screening as well. 15 minutes extra. It's sufficient, to be honest. Pre-screening, completing the pre-screening is difficult. Completing the screening is possible within the time frame, because there is a lot more questions which are based on your general knowledge, okay, general studies as such, rather than only your maths where you have to solve each and every question. So it becomes a little more easier here. Okay. So the minimum passing marks at the pre-screening. Okay, this should be screening. Let's cut this here. Okay. So the minimum passing marks at this screening test shall be as follows. The category, for general category, 65% yet again. Now this time it is 49 marks out of 75. For OBC, PWD and CFF, it is 60%, which is 45 out of 75. And ST category is 55%, which is 42 out of 75. Okay. So here, if you do not get these minimum amount of marks, you are out. Plain and simple. There is no repeat screening. Okay. Like how you had for repeat pre-screening, you do not have a repeat screening. You don't get your marks, you don't clear, you don't go to the interview. Simple as that. And this examination for BDO is extremely, extremely important. The reason being that from here only will you go to your interview. Okay. Getting just 49 is not going to secure your seat. You have to be in the top few people to get a post. The reason being that only 5 times the number of seats that are advertised, only those number of candidates would be called in. Now, if you notice, this for general category was 4 seats. So 4 5s are 20 general category students would be called. The top 20 general category students would be called for the interview for the general category seat. For OBC, if the seats were 2, then a total of 10 students, 10 aspirants would be called from the OBC category. The same goes for SC and ST, whatever category that you might fall under. Okay. So be very careful. Here is where you need to study and what is the syllabus. Very first thing, English grammar, general English, including grammar, which is going to be your 10 marks. So 2 passages, yet again, 5 questions each passage. Then you have general knowledge, current affairs, events of national and international importance. Here you get 10 questions on current affairs. The daily videos that we are putting in are more than sufficient for your current affairs, for any examination that you are going to appear under Goa Public Service Commission. So even if you do that diligently, you will be fine. Logical reasoning and analytical ability is the same kind of questions that you would get, that you had in your pre-screening, you would get over here. But this time it is only got 25 marks as compared to 50 marks as it was earlier. Okay. So even if you prepare for this 25, 30, sorry, 25, 35 and 45 marks. Okay. 45 marks worth of English, GK and logical reasoning. Okay, so this is a huge chunk. Do not lose opportunity here. And then comes the main core subjects for your BDO examination, which is worth 30 marks. So 30 questions on this. First point is polity, basics of Indian Constitution. You have your preamble, fundamental rights, fundamental duties, DPSPs, state legislature, executive, judiciary. So all of these important points when it comes to polity. For this, you can even read Lakshmikant. You are okay. Okay. More than sufficient. Then you have good governance, which is administration, efficiency, transparency, accountability in governance, right to information and role of Lokayukt. Right to Information Act. Please go through this. If you're preparing for your BDO examination, please go through this. Same thing will happen with Goa Panchayati Raj Act. There's an entire act for Panchayati Raj in Goa. You have to go through this. Okay. You learn and by heart each and every article in Panchayati Raj and Right to Information Act. Do not miss out on these 2 acts, it's right there in front of you. It's going to give you a good score. Goa's freedom struggle. Okay, of course, this is extremely important. You can go through your state books. State board books are more than sufficient here. Okay. Economic activity and social geography of Goa. These points, also social issues. These are all related to a bit of current affairs and what you read in the newspaper and see around you. So this is something that is fine. You could use previous year's questions and try to get information on what is asked. Okay, so this also works fine. When it comes to something like ideologies in environmentalism or women's issues, uh, try to read the newspapers. Also try to look at various schemes that the state of Goa is running for environment and for women issues. Okay. And for corruption, well, you have an entire act available by central government. You have vigilance committees set up, vigilance commissioners set up. You need to know about them. Okay. So for corruption, go through those acts also. So it's not a huge ask, to be honest. If you are able to do the first 45 marks accurately, you're able to do this part, the basics of constitution, and you're able to do these 2 acts, Goa Panchayati Raj Act and Goa Freedom Struggle, plus right to information, and you're able to do the corruption part of it. You should be fine. You should get a decent score anywhere around uh, 55, 60 or so, which, to be honest, for what we see, does bring you very close to a post, very, very close. It will get you an interview call, that's for certain. Now, once you go to the interview based upon your personality, then you would get your score. That I cannot say much about. But seeing you through screening and reaching the interview, that's point number one. And then once you reach the interview, of course, you use your magic charm and you get selected. That's how it works. Okay. So be very careful with this. Start reading right now. We do not have an ad for BDO yet, but you should not stop studying. I mean, whenever it comes in, you be ready and you just have to revise them. So you start studying now. It would be beneficial for you. Finally, you have the interview. Now, if you look at the ad does not mention anything about the score for the interview as such. But for what we know, you get about the interview is about 40 odd marks. Okay. And you get a score out of that. Is there a minimum requirement? Not really. For like the JSO exam where you need to get 50% at least. Try to target that at least 50% or so in your interview, because what is going to happen is that will be added to your CBRT score, and then the final score is declared whether you're selected or not. Okay, so interview also becomes extremely important. Your Konkani will be tested here. You will be given a paragraph from either a novel or a newspaper as such, and you will be asked to read while someone who has extreme knowledge of Konkani is going to judge you. And it will be in Devanagari script. Okay. So that becomes, so if you are not comfortable with Devanagari, start reading right now itself. Any newspaper, Konkani newspaper is fine. Start reading it so you get a hang of things. Okay. So that's about it. When it comes to the BDO exam, we have looked at the functions, we have looked at the salaries, we have looked at the examination pattern, and what kind of questions come in and what you need to focus on when it comes to the BDO. Okay, so that's about it, guys, for today. Thank you for watching and best of luck for your exams. And as and when we get the video ad, of course, I will be yelling and shouting to everyone to fill up the forms. So wait for the opportunity. It's going to come in, but be ready for it. All right. That's it for today. Thank you for watching.